Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania morning hundoke. And today we have Reverend Takaaki presenting on this Thursday, the 4th of June 2026, or the 19th of April in the 14th year of Chongil Guk. So thank you all for coming. And let's begin with a bow to our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. Chanji Jampuninge. Kyombe. Paro. And let's recite our family pledge both in Korean and English.
가전맨세 7. 전일국 주인, 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본연의 활동과 연결된 의하는 생활을 통하여 심존 문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 7. Our family, the owner of Chongil-guk, pledges through living for the sake of others to perfect the world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. Thank you. I'd like to share again Mother's prayer. We shouldn't forget Heavenly Parent in our daily life. During our earthly life, we should preserve the earth well, which Heavenly Parent, the Creator, made. What we need to focus on is outreach. We need to preserve well this beautiful world of creation in which our Heavenly Parent invested utmost effort by expanding the reach of our foundation. We, in becoming the owner, must take the lead in this. Those who have no sense of ownership for all things will fade away. We need to have true ownership. As we restore this nation and the world, let us not forget this for even a day, an hour, or even a minute until 2020. We need to become true filial sons and daughters, patriots who can offer results every month that will give our Heavenly Parent, the Creator, cause to trust us and be happy. Don't become the people who just come and go. Become people who practice ownership and a sense of responsibility. These are words of blessing, promising a new start for the new year. Now is the time to offer results before heaven. Going forward, use different methods from the ones you have used before. Be always focused and productive, and you will survive. More specifically, find creativity in your ability. Let's have a meaningful life of offering results before heaven. Arju. Thank you. And before we welcome up Reverend Takaaki, I'd like to share a praise song. So please.
사랑하는 참 어머님, 이 노래가 어머님께 위로가 되길
Beloved true mother, we hope that this praise comes a comfort to you.
Thank you, and let's welcome up Rev Takaaki as he shares this morning.
Morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yep, can see your screen okay.
Okay, today I'd like to share True Father's words on January 20th, 1980, an individual course of life. We are all destined to go through a course of life. Let us think for a moment at exactly which point our course of life starts. We can think of this in different ways, but of course, in one respect, it starts in the mother's womb. A majority of people contend that life on earth is the entire period of life, but actually there is life inside the mother, life on earth, and thirdly, eternal life. Before we are born, we have parents, grandparents, great grandparents, and so on, back to God, who is the original ancestor. Your beginning does not start with your birth, but traces back many, many generations. America is special because it is woven of strands from all over the world. And probably you Americans have parents of lineages which never came together before. Each cell is a combination of many generations of ancestors from both sides. Many, many elements are inherited by each individual. The physical life of each person starts with a tiny cell from both the father and mother, cells which have an abundance of elements. What color would each cell be? If the best color we could imagine would be white, would the cell be all white or contain many different colors which altogether make white? It would be made of all different colors, deriving from the ancestors, and if it were magnified, it would look like a composite of all mankind. The problem is whether the meeting of all these cells is based on the pure love given by God. Instead of traveling an ideal path of growth and love, each parent in history has come through a course of abnormal turbulence. Each individual contains that kind of tangled history. The meeting of two extremes, such as man and woman, can be compared to the Arctic and Antarctic coming together. The Earth has magnetic fields which have give and take, and a similar process goes on in a man. Each individual has subject and object within himself, which have give and take, but the question is whether he is then a great man or an insignificant man. One way of distinguishing a great man from a lesser one is that the great man has experienced many circumstances or situations. The more varied and complicated they are, the greater is that man's history. If there had been no fall, wouldn't God go to the place where all the descendants of the first ancestors could meet together? How great that occasion would be! Everyone attending that meeting would enjoy the fruit of happiness as an explosion of the ideal, and then all existence would be a spark of the ideal. Would Adam and Eve also be happy or just indifferent? How about God, the angelic world, and all created things? We can say that the moment that Adam and Eve are happy will also be the moment when God and all creation can be happy. What is the energy? There is energy generated when subject and object meet. It is energy for the realization of the ideal. Electricity is generated by give and take, of course, which would be more powerful, electricity or the power give and take between Adam and Eve. How can you confidently say that electricity is not stronger? It can be understood by the fact that electricity can only flow through a conductor, but love can go everywhere and through everything. Love gives off sparks whenever it meets something. Have you ever thought about what would make God happy? He might enjoy the variety of beautiful scenery from nature, all the wild animals, or the complexity of the microscopic world. Perhaps part of God's enjoyment comes from the variety he sees. What if he were to view everything with glasses of love? His creation is already beautiful, but seen with love, each entity becomes magnificent. In love, even the smallest thing is exciting. But without love, nothing is very thrilling. If there is laughter, there is as well as love. It will be multidimensional laughter. When we remove the element of love from all goings on, can we say that anything is ideal? What can we say is happiness and ideal? The ideal and happiness will fill anything or overflowing that they are put in. Here is one concrete example. If you are hungry and eat enough to be only half full, are you happy? But if you eat the complete fullness, then you have no more urge to eat and you feel happy. If you are going to fill something completely, what would you fill it with? If something is completely filled with power, you might be afraid the container will break. So power cannot be a source of happiness. Perhaps the container will be filled with such much material, but would it be happy? What would everyone like to be filled with in order to be truly happy? True love. But can true love fill everything? Women's hands are small and beautiful, but they can scratch sometimes. Sometimes in a wrong mood, their small mouths just won't budge. Sometimes their eyes are terrible, like the eyes of a snake. Sometimes those pretty ears are plugged up and won't listen. Even when there is utmost urgency, those feet sometimes won't budge. Sometimes wealth and power is offered to a woman, and sometimes knowledge, but she is still going here and there, up and down. But if someone could offer to fill her with true love, at that moment she would forget everything and just melt. Does a person who is in their love stiffen up or relax? Even the coldest looking person will open up the door of his heart to love. All his actions will be unified and focused by love. How fast could love travel? Love has to be the speediest, greatest thing on earth, and when two loves collide, they will explode like an atomic bomb. Will two individuals who are in love remain passive after the explosion? No, they will totally be harmonized. What could bring all the people into unified action? Nothing we can find could do this except love. Imagine a soft, downy quilt made out of love. It would contain fantastic colors. So, would it be a good color or a bad color? The more you imagine it, the more elated you will be. That elation will spread out in all directions. Yet in love, there is always just one central point. We have seen pictures of veterans returning from Vietnam, and their families are so happy that when they embrace they turn around and around. At that point, the central point is not a woman, but the man who has picked her up. Love is not a vague area, but has a central focal point, which is the ideal. When it is still, then perhaps it reveals many colors, but when it is going around at tremendous speed, it is only one color. If something has seven colors but is whirling around, it looks white. The fastest gives and take results in whiteness. White people are not white as a result of give and take. Even though a person's ancestry may be stained, if he can have give and take in an ideal way, it will be beautiful to see regardless of his ancestry. Where do we come from? At what point are we born? Will you be born far away from or right at the central point? Man is naturally born from that point, whether or not he chooses to be so. You feel good as soon as you realize that, don't you? You are not born as a bystander or a person of a secondary importance, but as a center and master of love. The best of a mother and father's love is united, and out of that center, their children are born. They are the center of both and are aggregates of their lives. Neither your father nor mother is the center, but you are the center of both. Without you, their love would never have come into one. Actually, it was for you that all ideal things took place between them, and you are the purpose and center of it. Thus, your parents are firmly attached to you, and when you move, they have to follow. Because that bond is so strong, you can claim the same rights as your parents. A child can say that no matter how perfect his parents think they are, without him, they cannot be happy. When you check closely, he is right. If he's not there, then they cannot be as happy. The child is a result, and the parents the cause, and only when they have harmonious interactions can they feel love. Through the principle, we know that whenever a subject object exists in give and take, some power is inevitably created. Together, they form a greater object to the greater subject, which is God. It is only through the child's becoming one with his parents that together they can be object to the greatest subject. Whenever that happens, there is a light glowing throughout the universe. This also provides a simple explanation of how a motor turns. There are plus and minus terminals, and once the motor starts turning, it goes faster and faster. One aspect will push and the other repel. As the motor goes around and around, it gains momentum. When love goes round and around, it is no longer a small power, but will fill the universe. Were you born as a subject as a result of a conflict somewhere? You should be the result of love. Wherever a mother or father are feeding their baby, they kiss him, clean his nose out, and when changing the diaper, they don't even mind if something splashes into their mouths. They just spit it out and remark that it has a taste they have never tasted before. There is no way the baby could offend them because at that moment, love overwhelmed them. Looking at their baby, the parents feel again the love they gave. The baby feels the love as well and holds tightly to them. The parents and baby just want to absorb one another. Breastfeeding actually drains nutrition out of the mother, yet she can give away those precious nutrients and still be happy. The baby is happy too when he sucks the milk. When you think that you are the result of this fantastic love, are you happy to be born? There are degrees of love, so how happy are you? Are you crazy happy? Don't you want to shout, "Look at me and how precious I am"? Aren't you worthy to be good, to be proud? You have many cosmic reasons to be proud because you are the result of love, so you are justified in protesting when anyone belittles you. God will take your side. When you really know that you are the result of love, even God will have to acknowledge it. In his laboratory, God could not develop anything more fantastic than a person who is the result of love. We can easily conclude that anyone who tries to foster love will be a good person. Whoever tries to destroy that love will be the worst evildoer because he destroys not only himself, but the universe he represents. Now you know why suicide is such a terrible sin. Have any of you ever had the urge to commit suicide? Now that you know what your value is, could you ever think that way again? In no other church does a congregation get up early on Sunday morning and go out in the cold rain to hear the minister. But it's worth it coming here on Sunday, isn't it? You are the unified body of your parents' love and life, tied to them with invisible string. Again, who am I? I am one with my parents, bonded by love. We are participants of love with our parents, the unified body of our parents' ideal. That ideal includes peace and happiness and all the desirable elements. There are many desires and activities in human life, but for a parent, nothing, not even his own advancement, can compare with the happiness of recovering a lost child. Who are you? You are the unified body of parents' life, love, and ideal. Although it's invisible, the strongest bond is that of life, love, and ideal with parents. It means that your parents cannot be happy without you. No power, not even God, can cut the tie between you and all existence on earth wants to protect and cherish that bond. Therefore, to love, cherish, and respect your parents is the most worthy thing in your life. Why? Because when these two have give and take, the universe will glow with light. There is an Oriental saying that blessing will come to a harmonious family, and now you know the very reason for it. If it is true, then for the parents to separate or divorce is nothing less than cutting their child in half with a saw. The public law of the universe won't allow that. Happiness draws farther and farther away from such a parent. For this reason, divorce is impossible in the ideal world. Those whose parents are divorced or separated, raise your hand. Do you feel as though you are cut in half? If there are millions of such families in a nation, that country must eventually perish. Now you know your value. Parents follow you wherever you go, don't they? Could you say, Father and Mother, you are too close to me? To say that would be a sin. Whatever you want to do, first you think of parents and want to bring them into a valuable place. It is normal thinking. If your mind tends to go the other way, that's the beginning of the fall. Your eyes are alive because of your parents, not yourself. When you grow and mature, it is not for yourself, but for your parents. When you think that way, are parents something nice to have and to be grateful for? In the long history of this wide world, I am the only one to teach this. It would take hours and hours to elaborate on all the details of this. How many parents do you have? There happen to be three. Your body is made of material, so all the creation are your first parents. They are the first elements which gave birth to you. Actually, the material elements are meant to exist in love, and that means that our cells cannot be peaceful when we are angry. All the elements of the material world exist in you. Your second parents are those who gave birth to you. Through them, all material elements were gathered to compose you. Though they can be master of your life, they cannot be master of your love, however. Where does love come from? From God. God's role is a universalized love in all things for eternity. God exists because he is a subject of love. Altogether, we have three sets of parents. Your life in your mother's womb is a state where when all the materials are gathered. This is a stage where love or material is realized. The physical world supplies all the elements necessary for you to come into being. You live for 10 months in your mother, then for 100 years on earth, then for 1,000 years, and eternally thereafter in the spirit world. Just as material is gathered in the womb, so the spirit is developed during life on earth. The child is taught by his parents, who supply things of invisible nature to their child, for their child. Those elements will enable the child to connect horizontally in relationships with all other things, and are finally consummated in his marriage. Parents will be responsible for the child until he marries. What is the nature of marriage actually? That is where the child inherits his parents' love. That is also where he inherits the essence of all the lessons he has learned, such as how much his parents have loved him. By knowing how much our parents love us, we become capable of loving others. A mature man is capable of receiving love and of giving love. Birth as a baby is the first birth, but the transition which society calls death is the second. What happens when you go to the next life? That's where all the best elements in the spirit world, love of your country, family, and ideal and individual, will come to you and automatically be unified. This is the nature of the spirit world. In the womb of the baby breathes through the umbilical cord and lives in an environment of water. Once born, the baby breathes air. The transition from living in water to living in air is birth. How do we breathe in the spirit world? All our cells breathe love in the spirit world. Wherever we go, we are contented, and there is no complaint or discontentment in that world. God exists above us, so that's why man walks erect instead of horizontally. Because man is physical, he basically likes material things, like money, and wants to have the ideal here on earth. That ideal is love. Of course, life is to connect these 3 points into a straight line. You began with parents' love, and centering around that, you develop love of family, love of country, and love of all the physical realm. We have supposed to lead our lives as centers of all three loves. Even the most harmonious family today is not aware that it should be the center of all society and all the universe. Strictly speaking, if you do not take good care of your family, it is a sin against your society and nation. You never thought your position would be this significant, did you? Logically, perfection of the family with love is a base for the perfection of the nation. We find it easy to love our families, and you should easily be able to extend that love to the world. First, we have love of material, then love of man, and then we become the center of love in the universe and go straight to the center of God's love. We begin from love, we mature in love, and we become the fruit of love. Do any of you remember how difficult it was for your mother to give birth to you? How would you be taught how difficult it was? You will only know by giving birth to your own baby. Why did God set things up so that many things in life are enjoyable, like eating, love, and sleep? Yet giving birth is so painful. He did that so he could see glowing love. When you throw an electric switch, the electricity initially surges through the circuit in a great burst, then settles down to a lesser but steady current. Likewise, the first creation involves a tremendous explosion of power and sensation. In childbirth, a woman experiences many feelings of anguish and hardly knows if she is dead or alive. But when the baby first cries, she forgets her pain and experiences her first feelings towards the baby. If childbirth is very difficult, then automatically you feel much love for the baby in spite of yourself. Like the first electricity in the wire, your first love is a great surge of affection for the baby, stronger than the pain. Does the pain of childbirth bring more happiness or agony for the mother? The father won't ever know, certainly not as much as the mother would. Mother really knows the taste of love because she has had many children. You might imagine too what an adventure birth is for the baby who loses the umbilical cord which has been his lifeline and leaves the water which surrounded him. The baby would feel this is the end of me. Only after birth would he realize that it was not unhappiness at all, but new happiness. In the mother's womb, there was only one pipeline, the umbilical cord, but after birth, there are two, his nose and mouth. One day he has to give even that up, just like a baby would have preferred to stay in his mother's womb if it would be a choice. So would we want to keep living on Earth after a life of 100 years or so if we don't know what the future holds? A dying man might struggle to stay alive and only face death reluctantly, but all of a sudden, he is in a different world, a world where he is feeling completely new sensations. The first thing he realizes is that in a spirit world, he is released from the bonds of the physical world, and elements of time and space no longer exist for him. The spirit world travels from one corner of the universe to the other is instantaneous, like a spark flashing between two electrical poles, like finding a station on the radio. All you have to do is tune yourself to the proper wavelength, and everything that you want to experience will come to you. The fact that there are three levels on your face shows that there are three phases of life. The mouth represents life in the womb or the water phase. The nose represents life on earth and breathing love. And the eyes, which can move freely, represents life in the spirit world. All parts of the body are composed of three stages, even your fingers. You have a hand, lower arm, upper arm, head, torso, limbs, feet, calves, thighs. The mouth has three stages, upper lip, lower lip, and the demarcation between them. The nose has two nostrils, which become one inside. You have two eyes, whose optical nerves become one inside the brain. Actually, the eyes are connected in four positions, three stages, and the number four are everywhere. Your ears represent four directions also. Excuse me. A baby in the womb wraps his thumb around his four fingers instead of protecting the thumb by holding it inside his fingers. The thumb represents God, so the baby is attesting to the fact that God is the center of the universe. The four fingers will, with three bones, each represent 12 months or the four seasons. We anticipate the eternal life in the spirit world, which is represented by the eyes. Through the eyes, we enjoy beautiful scenery and can judge height and depth. The eyes are the most important sensory organ in our bodies. Even in life on earth, we have to have some ideal images within us. We have many activities like running, eating, walking, and so forth, but love is the most important. Therefore, when we directed our love in the spirit world, we can go everywhere and be welcome. We are born of parental love and inherit that love by experiencing it ourselves. Once we become perfect in love, we advance to the center of God's love. In other words, these two stages of love are preparation to experience God's love so that we can fully resemble Him. These three stages are the eternal center of the cosmos. The diameter of love in perfection should be larger than these two stages can accommodate even in a spirit world. The realm of perfect love is actually big enough to encompass anything that enters it. Always we have to be aware that every effort is directed towards experiencing and improving love, that the whole purpose of life is for us to reach the center of love. Originally, man should not have had to try so hard to reach that point, but because of the fall, religion had to come into being. The purpose of religion is to redirect a person to his destination. A true religion provides a focal point where all things want to center on God's love. Our response to parental love is strong, but our response to a spouse is even stronger, and love towards God is even stronger still. If someone were to step on the path of God's love, he would soon forget about parents, wife, society, and nation because the desire to pursue his love will be so strong. His body and feet will automatically start walking in this direction in spite of himself, and the only way for his wife to be there would be for her to follow him. If she refuses, then she has gone astray. God created the Unification Church for the sake of true love of God and of mankind. Before you joined Unification Church, you were anchorless, with your eyes, ears, and mouths all going in different directions. By Unification Church, they became focused on one point, even though you didn't consciously think about doing that. Even if you go back home to your old bed, your nose will smell what the church is doing, your ears will hear the happenings here, and your eyes will see them. As soon as you wake up, the first thing you think about is a church, and only after you come to the church, you remember that you didn't make breakfast for your family. Everything else becomes immaterial when you have found the source of life. The members in Korea had experienced that when I prayed strongly for them, they felt drawn to me just as though to a magnet. If I spoke fluent English, I could probably do that here, but actually, it's probably better that it doesn't happen to you. Even though you have really changed only a little, the American people think we are being different and they persecute us. If I were to give you that electrifying experience, however, you would probably just go out and to the streets laughing and shouting. Then if Christian church might be persecuted even more. No one who is not a member of any of major religions has ever understood them. A person has to be part of it to understand. Everything we do is founded on cosmic history, so our work is very logical and scientific. How could anyone in the world imagine that? Why did you come to sit on the cold concrete? You are not here to oppose anyone. You are here to pursue the idea of love. That makes us very different. You wear three-dimensional glasses, but the glasses I see through are very thick and multidimensional as well. I heard an American member saying that he had worked hard on MFT for 4 years and hoped very much to be blessed with a Japanese sister, but instead he was matched with an American. He was blaming Mr. Kamiyama in a way, who had said that if a person works hard for this sensation, then anything he wants can happen. But I knew that an American was better than a Japanese for this brother. I want to tell him to wait until he has been married many years and then come to thank me or to complain. Also, he shouldn't care about how happy he is with his wife. The children they have are, are what matters. At one time, Adam and Eve were the only two people in the whole world, and they didn't know that what mattered most to God was for them to form the four-position foundation. If my father and mother hadn't liked each other and insisted only on their own happiness, would I have come into being? My mother was very active and my father more of a scholarly person. My mother intuitively decided what was good, while my father waited and reasoned everything out slowly before making decisions. So they were always in some conflict over decisions. If they had both been of the same aptitude, then I wouldn't have inherited both elements in a good proportion. There is no highness or lowness. What makes something high is that something else is low, and there is harmony between them. If my parents had been divorced before I was conceived, how could they have faced God, who would scold them for messing up his dispensation? Here in America, parents call us heretics, but still, unification church is indispensable. American parents try to kidnap their children from the church, but in Korea, a husband would wait in an alley and try to kidnap his wife from the church, or a wife kidnap her husband. That husband or wife would run as hard as they could back to the little church where I was. A husband might lock his wife in the house to keep her from going to the church, but somehow she would escape and then run back to the church. At that time, this kind of thing was like crows eating the newly sown seed. But today, this kind of thing is like taking a melon out of a field of melons that are ripe and ready to be eaten. You think church life is difficult now, but it is nothing compared to the early days. You think it is difficult now, then you don't know what difficulty is. The only ways to know difficulty is to look at the situation I experienced with the very early members. If someone is wandering around wondering if he should leave and then he finally goes, what tragedy is that? Of course, it is sad for that person, but how would God' eternal plan and love be affected by that one person? Would the eternal love of God change? No matter who leaves, I will continue. I had experiences with all types of people before I came here. I saw many people pledge their unchanging loyalty after experiencing the love of God here, but then spiritually, I would say to them, let's see how many years you can sustain that. The love of God is eternal, but would those people be willing to suffer eternally? Imagine that all 4 billion people in the world were men, with the exception of one woman. Would they all compete to win her? Would you think I am just one out of a 4 billion, so what use is there in trying to compete? A normal man would fight for an equal chance. If there were 4 billion females and only one male, would you just give up, thinking that there were many others who had better chance? If there were 4 billion men and women, but only one church of love, what would they all do? When they began to compete, would they think, I am from a democratic country, so I have to have 3 meals a day, 8 hours of sleep, a good insurance policy, and a car? Or knowing what the significance of the goal was, would they give up all their old habits? If a man of prosperity who has grown fat with his easy life competes with a man who has lived in the mountains and caught his food barehanded, who do the odds favor? Can you pick and choose what you like and don't like about the church? Where on earth is there a church which keeps such long hours? You might wonder why the sermon is so long and why people don't greet you at the door after service, shaking your hand and saying nice things about you. Don't you think I have thought about these things as much as you have? I already thought about doing all that. If you wonder why you get persecuted if things are really so good here in Unification Church, then let me ask you, who has been persecuted more, you or me? Who has suffered more, you or me? Am I leading a more comfortable life than you? If it is difficult for you, know that I have had much more difficulty. If you suffer, I have more suffering now, not even counting the past. If you would rather die than go on, know that I have felt that way even more strongly than you. How can you say that no one here understands you? How many of you doubt that you can go on living like this for the rest of your life. All of you feel that way, don't you? We are in a small boat in a big typhoon. If you are in the prime of your life and in top condition, and if you are pursuing this goal, then you have to run. But if you are not prepared in the ideal way, how can you keep going? You think that before you die, you have to visit each of the 70 million homes at least once. You have to start running because you have only a little time left. The best way is to think that if you work 10 times harder, then you will only have to visit 7 million homes. If you work 100 times harder, then only 700,000 homes. And if you work 1,000 times harder, then you only have to visit 70,000 homes. We are blessed by knowing about indemnity. Indemnity is the only realistic way to shorten our suffering. You can work harder and then add more hardship on top of what you already have. That concept makes this work more practical. Even if you are not completely successful by the time you die, America will sympathize with you one day, and certainly God will recognize you. All the spirit world will know how hard you are working. You are not alone. Can you even think about trying to get blessings without working hard? How sacrificially have you worked for God and mankind and brothers and sisters? You have started to complain and criticize before thinking about that. Such a man deserves the punishment of receiving more difficulty. You go this path of love as an individual, not with a spouse or even your parents. This is why traditionally the road of religion has been a solitary one. When you are getting married, do you get together with a friend first? We begin and conclude as an individual. What place does your best friend have in your church life? Even your parents have their own way to go. In this country, parents often chase their children out of the house when they reach 18. That is good only if the parents have supplied them with enough love and in the name of the child's own individual perfection, they chase that son or daughter out. It is meaningless if they do so without having given that love. I don't look at you as individuals, but as representatives of segment of the world. I think of you as representing hundreds of thousands and other people. And with that thought, I feel I will introduce you to Heavenly Father. I don't recognize you and encourage you just because you work so hard. Okay, thank you very much. I think it's already time, and we'll stop right here.
Yes, thank you very much for sharing. It's quite an amazing message, to reflect on and to really see there's so many ways in which Father truly explained about love. Yeah, and I was impressed how Father explained, the reason why suicide and divorce is wrong. I was just thinking, oh, I need to remember those ways. So when I meet people who are sad or confronted, with being broken, that we can help them to understand. And that very last part about it's you get chased out at 18. If it's done with love, then it's part of the growth process. But if it's not, and then it just adds to the sadness. Anyway, it's a very great speech, and thank you for sharing it. And it is time for us now to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just bring up that screen, and we can there it is, and we can pray together. Thank you. Jew, Jew, Jew. Thank you, everyone, and we send our love to your dad. I hope he's recovering well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Takaaki, so much. Always.
Okay.